Hey, welcome back for another episode, everybody. And if you remember last time, we started installing our cam tower here on the exhaust side of the motor. So I wanted to show you some of the progress we've done here. So we have the lifters put in. I'm going to put the last one in while you watch. We coat those with the assembly lube. And I wanted to show you another money-saving tip, and that is the cam tower covers. These little rubber gaskets, or silicone gasket rather, or silicone, and these gaskets, they would come in with like an intake, or timing chain set, because you have to, I guess you have to take these off, but even though if you remove the timing chain housing, you don't have to disturb these, but I think they call it a headset is what it comes with, but so that would come with a head gasket, but these are reusable at least a couple times. This one here, this is the probably the third time I've reused this one. And this one here, whenever I went to make the video, this gasket wouldn't stay in place anymore. It kept kind of popping up. Must have been stretched or something, but I got rid of that and put another one in. So this is now the third time I've reused that one. And you can see, maybe if you look real close, this one here's red, this one's orange. I think this is an aftermarket one. I think the factory one's the orange one. So this is an old factory one. And you can reuse those, but you got to clean them real good. I take brake clean and clean them off, and then wipe them with a rag until the rag comes back clean. And as long as they stay in the groove, whenever you turn this upside down, they'll work. And really never had any trouble with them leaking before. All right. So the one time I did put a little bit of sealant on here, but it just squeezed out and made kind of a mess, and really not necessary. So what we're going to do is we're going to install I'm going to get my camera set up here, and this is going to be a little shaky here for everybody. I'll try and get you set up here, because we're just doing this, we're actually building this in the shed, then I'm going to take a little buggy and wheel the motor over to the garage. So, all right, so the last lifter here, just coat that with assembly lube, and we want to make sure that the valve side is down. That's the valve side. This is the side that the cam rides on. Just slide those down right like that. Slides in. We're going to get rid of the glove. That glove makes it nice because you don't have to really wash your hands. You just take the glove off and give it a toss. All right, now from here we're going to use our luber plate. If you've seen the last episode, we used this luber plate. It kind of looks like lithium grease, but it's got some special qualities that help it, and it is clingy. And if you watch some of the racing videos I had in 2017, I actually pulled that motor apart, and there was a problem with the piston ring sealing, and they carboned up, and it was a real big issue. And I had ran that motor one entire weekend. There was 4 races, 2 on Friday and 2 on Saturday, and also a couple of trial runs trying to get the oil control problem solved. And if you want to look back at some of those videos, there's a 2017 racing playlist that I have on my site, or on my YouTube channel. But anyway, after probably the equivalent of about 4 nights of racing, there was still some of this luber plate inside the motor, so it does take it a while to kind of flush out. So all we do with this, we just take it and we just put a little dab on top of the valve, and just try and pretty much cover the face of, or not the valve, but the lifter, pretty much try and cover the face of the lifter with this. And we already have the assembly lube on the cam journals on the cover side and the bottom half of it here. And there's one more other thing I wanted to tell you. Can't remember what it was. Before we put this these cams on, what I did is down there I brought the crank, I turned it back a quarter of a turn. What that does is that brings all the pistons down inside the bore, because whenever we put this together, these cams are not going to be in time. After we get the cam chain housing on, then we're going to rotate the cams, get them in time. Then I'll know absolutely, I'll be absolutely positive that whenever I bring the crankshaft back up, the pistons aren't going to come up and hit the valves. So we want to be patient there. Now there's a couple different, you see we've got our old used camshaft. I actually had to polish these journals. They were looking a little rough, so took a little bit of 1500 grit with some WD-40 and just polish them up a little bit. And they don't look that great, but they feel pretty good. Not too rough. They feel looking pretty good. This cam's been sitting around for a long time. So we're going to assemble this, and like I said, it's going to be out of time, and there's a couple different clockings you can put the cam in, and what we're going to do is find the clocking that brings the cam down lowest in the housing, because the cam cover actually is going to press down and actually squeeze. It'll compress the valve springs and get everything in place. So we'll start right like this, and it's kind of set up a little high. Well, right there, it just fell into place, and that's well and truly out of time. I can tell by this little dowel pin, and you can see like here, about there, it wants to set up real high, so we can't have that. So we're going to rotate it around and find a nice low spot. There we go. And get a little bit better. There we go. And that's pretty low. It's up a little bit on this side, but it's not, you know, sticking up real far. So we're gonna roll with it. And we put the cam cover on. We're gonna make sure we got this flange here that matches this flange here. Just turn that over and slide that down, and that should pop right on there like that. And I do want to take a look here. I'm looking right along here. I'm making sure that rubber silicone, or that silicone seal, didn't fall out of the groove, because if that happens, then we get pinched, and then we're going to have all kind of problems. So we might have had a little bit of an issue there. We're just going to pull this off and check. And right there was. Press that in, and the cam came with it. Pull that cam out and get it out of the housing here. Back to your home, back where you belong. There we go. Okay. I'll really press that seal in. Probably what happened there is whenever it snapped down on, it kind of jarred it a little bit, and it just popped it out of its groove. I don't think it would have slid down a little bit, but I do not want to take that chance, because this, especially because this is the exhaust side, and the oil that drips down is going to go right onto the exhaust manifold. It's going to cause a lot of smoke. It's going to stink. And it's going to be a real mess. I'm going to look here, and it does not want to stay in that groove, but there we go. That's better. And that looks pretty good. Okay, that looks pretty good. Okay, so we take our nuts. All we're going to do is just get them all started. And we're going to do this one in real time, because I want to show you how this is done. And it does take time. If you remember, whenever I showed you the studs, I just put the last one in to show you how it's done. I'm not going to have you set through the whole thing and watch me, turn studs in one at a time. Half an hour later, then I'm done. Not half an hour, I'm exaggerating, but well and truly 15 minutes or so of me just watching me turn a stud in. Alright, and then we need a socket, which I had here a moment ago, and now you get to see how things are really go here. This is unedited. Okay, let's grab a socket here. Let's do our 13 millimeter. There we go. And grab our book, and there is a torque sequence to these, a tightening sequence. You go from the front of the motor, okay, and this is our exhaust side over here. And so we turn this around this way. So we're going to go one, get this one. And we do not want to tighten that up all the way. We just want to get it started. Then 2 is here. 3 is up here. So basically we're making a V. And then after that we come back and we go the other way. Instead of the V this way, we're going to go this way. Turn this. Just doing a little bit at a time. And I had a deep well socket one time in my life. I have it here. And it was on a ratchet. Not this ratchet. And it's missing. Alright. Here. Here and then here. Jump it around a little bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to continue with these 6 bolts, and that's going to pull this down. I'm not really worried about torquing these ones down just quite yet. Okay. All right. So we go 1. Actually, it doesn't really even matter which order you go in here, as long as you make a V on one side and then a V shape on the other. So we'll probably change this back to 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it's not down all the way yet. Okay, so we're getting there though. All right, so we're going to go 1, 2, 3, and I'm compressing those valve springs as I go, so I'm putting a fair amount of pressure on that. And 4, and these get loose whenever I tighten them down. 5, and that's actually finger loose, because I'm pulling that timing cover down. 6. Now at this point, since I'm starting to get the springs compressed, I'm going to start working on the outside. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then we're going to come over here diagonally. 7. Let's give that one a little bit, and then up here. 8, 9, straight over. For sure, I don't want to put this cam tower in a twist and maybe bend it. No. All right, 10. Okay, then we're going to start over. 1, 2, 3, 4. Put it off. 5, 6, 3, 4, 5, 6 here, and 7, 8, 9, and 10. And believe it or not, I can still see a gap on this side of that cam tower. It's actually, the gap is pretty even the whole way around. So this is actually good. Okay, so 1, and that's I can spin that with my fingers because I'm tightening that down. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In the instructions, which you can find online, he has a link for the instructions for these studs. And I'm not sponsored by this guy or anything, and I bought these outright. He didn't know I was going to be doing this video or anything like that. But then the instructions, it gives you the instructions as far as how much torque he's down to, and so we're going to be following that. And also there's instructions on how you can do this without pulling everything off. Basically what you do is you do one stud at a time. You pull the bolt out, put the new stud in, and you tighten it, torque it down to spec, and then you move on to the next bolt. All right, so from here, let's see, 1, up here, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's starting to snug up. 5, 6, 7, 8. Whoop, 7. Yeah, 8, 9, 10. All right, and this is where we have to get the torque wrench out. I think you're following this okay. Yeah, you can see it. Okay. All right, there we go. So 1, we tighten these to 10 foot-pounds. And there's already a 10. Right about 10 there. 10 there. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good. And I just about had him at 10 foot-pounds. 6. Okay. And then 7. 8. Just that one up a little bit. 8. Oh, there's a little snub too. In order to get that tightened down. 9. And there's a little tight too. That's okay. 10. All right, now what I want to do is go back through and start again, and because all these are tightened down to 10 foot-pounds, I know this is seated. So what I'm going to do is go back through and loosen it up a little bit, and then bring it back to exactly 10. There's all these ones that are already tightened down. They're going to hold it down there while I get the torque correct on this one. 2. That's exactly 10. And he's very specific about that in the instructions. Only go to 10. Don't go to 11. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. And these don't stretch the way the factory bolts would. 9. And I mean, I'm just getting 10 pounds on it. And 10. Okay. Then the instructions say to turn it an additional 90 degrees. Or I'm sorry, not 90 degrees, 45 degrees. He's very specific about that. So we're going to use something with plenty of power so we don't have to try real hard. You know, crazy torque. Okay, so if we have 90 degrees right here, halfway there, and slowly bring it to 90, and that's tight enough. Okay, 90's here, so 45's right in the middle. Slowly, 2. Here, 3. And then 4. Whoop, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm doing this backwards, but that's all right. It doesn't really matter. 4. As long as we get these first 6 bolts tightened in that V shape. 5. And 6. And then we're going to come over here. 7. 8. And you start cranking on this real hard, and you'll pull the threads right out of the head. 9 and 10. There we go. And again, I mean, you got to go crisscross pattern whenever you do these outside ones. That's pretty obvious. But whenever you do the inside ones, you can either do these ones first or these ones. And if you get a little mixed up, it's not a big deal. But in any case, that's how I did the intake. Now the exhaust is done, and there's just a wee bit of the sealant coming out there, and that's good. I don't want a big glob of that hanging out, or worse yet, squishing out and running down or squishing inside of the motor. So I think we're in pretty good shape for this video. So if you like what you saw here, go ahead and hit the thumbs up. And I got to thank the guy at Quad 4 Parts, and there's a link in the description down below for building such a nice quality piece of or nice quality engineering quality engineered product rather. So we've got to thank him, and the directions are very clear, and I really liked it. It was easy to put together. So once you if you've seen this video, go ahead and click on the link and go check out his site and see what else he has. And the next time you see this, we're going to be installing the timing chain housing. So thanks for watching, guys. Like and subscribe.